Welcome back to Rudy's 1/6 World for episode 18 of our new figure showcase, where I'll be doing a quick review / posing session with the newest addition to my collection, and I am really excited with the figure we'll be looking at today, and it is none other than Captain Benjamin Sisko. It's the inaugural figure from EXO-6's Deep Space Nine line. Now, this is my third figure from EXO-6, so it'll be interesting to see how he measures up with the other figures that I've gotten to date. Now, regarding Deep Space Nine, I really did love the series. From the opening moments where we get to meet then Commander Sisko at the Battle of Wolf 359, to his adversarial first meeting with Captain Jean-Luc Picard as he's given the briefing to take command of the space station. It felt like we were getting a slightly different take on the Trek universe, at least different from the exploratory nature that we'd gotten to that point with the Next Generation. And Captain Sisko himself was a great character, definitely operating more in that gray zone, at least more than any of the other captains we'd seen to date. And I love that about him. If you ever watched The Godfather, there's a moment when Michael Corleone is preparing to go to war, and he ousts his lawyer and brother and says, "Tom, you're not a wartime consigliere." And I can't help but think that makes sense for Sisko, since it does feel like he was the right wartime captain that Starfleet needed to help see them through the events around Deep Space Nine, the occupation, and the war with the Dominion. So we'll dive more into Sisko as a character as we go, but we're here to look at the figure, and as is the norm for us, we'll start by looking at the total package, with everything he includes. Now, this is the SX version, so he comes with a few extra accessories. EXO-6 did also create a less expensive version, but there's a specific accessory here that made me want to pick up the SX. So this version includes an additional set of hands, the phaser rifle, and a glass, as well as an additional vest and undershirt. So let's look at the accessories in a little bit more detail, and start with the phaser rifle, which is exclusive to the more premium package, and it looks really great. I'm not sure if I'm just seeing things here, but the paint apps do seem improved from the other rifles we got with Janeway and Tuvok. There's a nice pattern to the gray and some color variations, and the detail work on the grip just looks better. Strap is also nicely attached with metal buckles, and there is a flip-up sight with a translucent green plastic that works well, although the one nitpick I have is my version is a little skewed, so it doesn't sit well, but I do like this rifle, and I didn't actually think I'd like it as much as the others. Next up, we have the more standard pieces we've gotten with EXO-6, including the tricorder with magnetic pieces, hand phaser, and a slightly different DS9 specific pad. The tricorder and phaser both look great, no different from the previous releases, and I really do like the way that they affix to the figure's uniform via magnets. It's very clean. I do think the pad is the highlight here though, with the DS9 specific decals and a sticker on the back as well, so it's unique from the other versions we've seen, so really like this here. Next up, two accessories that I think are key for the character, and the first one is a baseball. And just like Janeway with her coffee cup, I think this was a must-have accessory, as Sisko often had that baseball in his office and would be holding it, and he had this massive love for the sport, so it captures that part of who he was. The other accessory here is the glass with some alcohol in it, which looks amazing and has that interesting shape. To me, this is another pivotal accessory coming from one of Captain Sisko's most memorable moments from the episode Into the Pale Moonlight. Next, also exclusive to the SX set, is a vest similar to what came with Picard, and it's really nicely done, especially the gray portion at the upper chest area with some nice stitch work. And one thing that's really nice with this piece, and the jacket as well, is that the Velcro that holds the vest closed is fully removable from both sides to let you keep the vest open and give you a really clean look for display, so I definitely appreciate that. Next, he does come with an additional undershirt with a dark red command color and the captain pips. Now, this was the base undershirt, which is completely closed, so I'm surprised it didn't come on the figure, but it looks great, and this would allow you to have the fully closed shirt look that was more standard with the uniform for the regular service life, as opposed to the alternate that allows you to have that more relaxed collar. So nicely done with the great material. Only note on this is be careful when you're swapping them out, as the material is very thin and it can get snagged on the joints of the figure, so you just want to be careful to avoid damaging them. Finally, he comes with a number of hands, including 3 additionals that are exclusive to the SX series and are designed specifically to hold the glass and to hold the phaser rifle. And as I have mentioned on the previous releases, these hands are really nice. Paint applications and detailing are great. There's some subtle paint work here, and it elevates the details. So I really do think it's something that EXO-6 continuously does well. So now let's move on to the sculpt, because frankly, EXO-6 does great work on the accessories and typically with the uniforms, so the sculpt is what's going to make or break these figures, and I'm really happy to say they did an excellent job here. He's without a doubt the best sculpt of the figures I've gotten to date, and I do think he looks very much like Captain Sisko. So likeness wise, it is really solid. Let's start with the eyes, because the paint scheme here is really done well, and it adds that realism that I sometimes felt was missing from definitely from Janeway, and not as much from Tuvok, but this is improved here. He's got great detail work on his facial hair and his excellent and there's some really nice texturing around his skin and his forehead, and really great also around his scalp. Also, from a paint scheme, as opposed to Tuvok where the paint work was a little heavy, this is a really nice here with some subtle variations around his scalp and his cheeks. So really great sculpt here, and without a doubt this is my favorite release so far from EXO-6 that I own. Now, looking at his uniform, this was the latter iteration of the uniforms from the later portions of DS9 and the TNG movies, and it was personally my favorite uniform of the bunch. I do think they look more military in nature, and I like the great portion of the uniform at the top with the command discipline colors being limited to the undershirt and the jacket cuffs. So overall, these are really nicely done with top-notch tailoring and work done to the comm badge. The highlight with the uniforms is the jacket, without a doubt. Pants are well tailored but fairly straightforward, and the shoes are the standard boots from the TNG, DS9, and Voyager era. Not too complex, but they're serviceable. Stitch work on the arms, again, is really well done, and I do love the cuff details. It really makes me look forward to the other DS9 figures like Dax, Chief O'Brien, Worf, and Dr. Bashir. So overall thoughts as we look at some poses here. This is my favorite release thus far from EXO-6, at least of the figures I own. If this is a sign of things to come from them, I am really excited for the future. And they've already teased some great figures that I'm looking forward to. And I love the accessories, and hopefully this is something that EXO-6 continues to give us, because that really does set this apart with the amount of options you have. In particular, the glass. I know it seems like a minor piece, but the DS9 episode in the pale moonlight was probably my favorite of the series, with Sisko clearly doing something bad for the greater good, and it ends with him in his quarters nursing the glass and monologuing about how the Romulans have entered the war with the Dominion thanks to his actions. And the best line to me is the one at the end where he says, "I can live with it," as he kind of tries to convince himself that he can accept what he's done. It's just powerful, and it's such a great ending to the episode where he just tells the computer to delete his personal log. Captain Sisko, to me, was that wartime captain that had to deal with the end of the Kardashian occupation, as well as the war with the Dominion, and he had so many moments that really were impactful. Even his personal battle with the Maquis, where he bombed the Maquis planet to make it uninhabitable. There was that moment where even Worf seemed to hesitate, which means the decision is pretty questionable. So, this is an amazing figure, and with all the options that EXO-6 is providing here, it really is great from a display option with a lot of possibility and potential. I think you really can be creative with him. I do like the more relaxed maroon shirt with the vest to recreate that scene that we discussed from Pale Moonlight. To be honest though, I don't know how I want to display him. I might want to display him like that with the glass, although he definitely needs a couch to have that more relaxed moment. But then there's also his baseball, which is another key aspect for the character. So I'll have to give some thought to how I want to display him going forward. Now, I'm definitely looking forward to what's next from EXO-6. I will definitely be getting some of the other figures from the line, and hopefully they turn out as good as this one did. Next up, in terms of their releases, besides the Admiral Kirk, which is coming out in 3 weeks, I think of the figures I have on pre-order is 7 of 9, although unfortunately I didn't pick her up direct from EXO-6, so I'll need to wait some time to get her. And I am surprisingly thinking of picking up both Michael Burnham and Commander Sarut from Discovery. I finally started watching that episode, and I really did that series, and I really did like both characters. So I think my Star Trek display is going to be expanded. Not to mention they are teasing some figures from the Kelvin era, so there are going to be plenty of options here. But for these legacy figures like Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and even TNG, to a degree, I do think this figure is a highlight of what EXO-6 can possibly do. So that was a quick look, and like I said, I am very happy with this one. So much so that I think he's definitely in the running for one of the top figures I have picked up this year. I am curious to hear what your thoughts might be on this release, and what you think of EXO-6 and some of the other offerings they have right now. And as always, I just want to say thank you for watching, and if you are enjoying the content, please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll touch base on the next video.